All right. So we have here today, we've got Bitcoin on January 5th, and we are going to proceed with the technical analysis here. So we went over some original ideas with the monthly, weekly, daily, breaking it down from higher time frames to lower time frames. And now what we're going to do is just reset the ideas. We've had some moves for Bitcoin. We're sitting right now at 93,900. Just hit 94,000 a little bit ago, and now we're pulling back. So let's get an understanding of where we're at and where our support lines are for this price action here. So, one thing we are going to start doing is we're looking at previous locations where we have hit resistance levels, support levels, and things like that nature. And the location where you want to place these is where you have multiple confirmations. So where I'm highlighting right now, we have multiple confirmations, and this is just getting a general idea of where we're at in the price action. So we could get some of these lows right here, and the 2 points I'm looking at are these candle closes, which are the thick portions of the candle, and then the wicks, which are the thin portions of the candle. And those thin portions are price action that we touch lightly. We touch, but when the candle closes, when the time is over, specific to the time frame, when that time of the candle is over, it closes at a specific price, and that's what the thicker candle is. So the thicker candles show more agreements in the price action at those levels, where the wicks show kind of like the extremities or the outliers in the price action. So yeah, we'll put those green lines right there as some local resistance, and from where we're at basically to about 49,000, and we'll also put one here at the close of, oh, that's not exactly where I wanted that, right about there. All right, so now we have our support levels in the green. We're going to make some resistance levels, and we'll put them right here. We'll make those red, and that's going to be our top portion. And now we'll go for the candle closes, just about right there, and then some congruence right about here at 109, and then we have two levels here that we hit, so just about right there. And price right now is trapped in this area, so what we could do is start zooming in and figuring out what the volume is around this area. But one thing we could do is do that with this. So here, we'll take this fixed volume range. We'll do it from this right here. Great. So we're going to grab this, I keep forgetting the name of this one. The FRVP, the fixed range volume profile. So we are seeing the volume, instead of how it's posted or graphed out here on the bottom vertically, we're seeing it horizontally throughout the price action. So we can see that we have certain levels of volume wherever the price is correlated. And this also helps us associate where our support levels and resistance levels are. So we'll put a resistance level here. As we can see, this is the highest point of concentration of the volume. Call that the POC, the point of control. And we'll adjust some of our other support levels so we can match these volume ranges a little bit more accurately here. And I think that'll be pretty good for right now. We can start zooming in, but before we do that, let me get rid of this. Let's see what we have on the 2-week chart. So we're on the 2-week, and a high of 126, and let's see. So one thing I saw right here is, following this trend line, we do have some bearish divergence, and this bearish divergence has already played out. You could say that this bearish divergence played out in this move to the downside right here. And you can see that because from this top, it came down, and now we're starting to curl back up. We're starting to curl back up here. So it's saying that we've already made a move to the downside. It might not be the last move to the downside, but it is a significant move in this overbought and oversold stochastic RSI indicator. So it's some local level to tell us that this trend of the bearish divergence has probably found a consolidation point. So from there, we could start looking at smaller time frames and figure out where exactly our price action is gonna be looking at here. And I'm just gonna start adjusting this a little bit to get that bottom line right there. Yeah, no problem. One thing we see here is we do have a high money flow, and our market cipher indicator is showing that it's curling up, but we are having some red in the RSI, so there are some bearish trends here, but we do have positive money flow, and this yellow indicator and this blue one as well, they're starting to curl up here, so it's showing that there's positive momentum going to the upside. So we'll start looking in deeper. So on the weekly chart, we are starting to get that roll up of this stochastic RSI. You can see in this normal RSI, we're testing that moving average range. This yellow is the moving average and the purple is the current RSI. So it's testing its range right now. And the market cipher, we're getting a green dot. So, we're getting confirmation on this indicator that we've had a reversal of some kind right here. But this green dot only means that there was some kind of reversal here. That does not mean that we're out of the woods just yet. There's a lot of red that we have coming up. So we'll go into what exactly this means. And in order to do that, let's zoom into the 3-day chart. So looking at the 3-day, we have this yellow 200-day moving average. And then we also have this right here. That is the 50-day moving average, and we are currently closing this candle, or we're having price action above the moving averages, which hasn't been for since December 15th. So it's about a little over half a month that we've been under this moving average, and you can see we keep testing it, and we're wicking below it. So we hit it and then keep getting sold off. So this is the first time we're about to form a third candle, which these 3 candles are a pretty bullish scenario here. It's a bullish indicator when you have 3 candle closes like that, 3 in a row. But we're still forming that. So the third candle is not done yet. There's still 22 and a half hours left to close that candle. So if we are successful in closing this above the moving averages, then we do have positive momentum, and we do have price action above the moving averages. So it's a pretty bullish indicator. As far as saying that we're not below the moving average and we're starting to pick up the pace and push the price a little higher. That's pretty much all it's saying. And you can't conclude too much off of that because it's still a higher time frame. But as you can see in these other moves, when you're low on this 3-day RSI, there's usually a move to the upside. And then it cools back down, and it's not perfect, but you're seeing how the RSI, if you're following along with the price action also, as we go left and right, as the RSI on the bottom goes up, the price action also goes up, and then same thing to the downside. And it's not ideal, it's not perfect, but what we could do is use this as a general indicator of where the price action is going. And in a bearish scenario, we have to look at this, is here's a high at this stochastic, and now we're making another high on the stochastic. We haven't curled over yet, but look at this. We're making a lower high, and it's a pretty significantly, lower high. So it's a pretty bearish indicator right there. If we're not able to get close to this higher high, or at least, test multiple ranges here and start bouncing back and forth so we can start, resetting this RSI, then if we don't get up there, then we're going to have a likely push to the downside. We're just not showing enough momentum to keep it up. So just something to look at on the 3-day. So bigger time frame is showing a more massive move, but we are getting above that average. So it is showing that some price action and money flow is coming into Bitcoin right here. So we'll go to the 18, just see what we're looking at. And same thing, we have our stochastic RSI on the overbought region, and we're hitting local resistance levels. So here, one thing we'll do is we'll put a resistance level right there. And, as you can see, we've smacked this. We could even say 1, 2, 3, and this is the 4th time we're here. So you can see we got a red candle on the 18-hour just after we hit that resistance point. So it's showing that we have some sell pressure there. A green candle now that's starting to form is showing that we do have some potential, but with the RSI being overbought here, you can tell that this is there's not much more steam to go up here, and if you wanted to, you would have to likely consolidate here, reset this RSI before another move to the upside could happen. And that's not it doesn't have to happen like that, but that's usually how it happens. Is how left and right price action, as you can see right here, left and right price action brings this down. The price pretty much stayed at 90,000 here, but your RSI is slowly going down as you consolidate. There's a lot of sell pressure that's being wiped out in that market there, and it's being bought up by investors and a whole bunch of people. So that's just what it's showing. Some things that you can tell from those indicators. So on the 18-hour, still kind of high, looking to test some supports if we start to roll over, which we are on the 18-hour. So let's zoom in a little more. And we have the 6-hour here. So now we're going to start getting into this local zone here on the bottom. And I've been following this trader called Crypto Lifer, and he's taught me basically everything I know with this technical analysis. And one thing that he's pointing out here is that we have an Adam and Eve pattern. And an Adam and Eve pattern is this inverted triangle, or like an upside down triangle here, and then a bow. The Adam is the upside down triangle, and then this bow is the Eve part of it. Adam and Eve, and then the price action, if I'm not mistaken, is the length of this Adam and Eve. The Eve portion of it is the price projection, which gets us to about $104,800. So we will make this a gold color. We'll make that a dotted line as a price projection, make that gold as well, and we'll make this gold as well. Just so we see what's going on there. We'll hold that there. We can get rid of it, but what I do want to do is I'll push this resistance. You know what? I'm not even going to do it. But one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to delete these drawings here, but I just want to give you an idea of what that price projection is looking like. And we're landing right on that resistance. It's not going to be a clean shot to the upside. What likely will happen is what we're discussing with the 18-hour is we will likely consolidate, test our resistance support levels, hit something like this. This line that I have selected now is a likely scenario of what we could see going on here. And with the RSI kind of following along, you have something like this. It's not going to be perfect, but something like that. You're going to have money flow and all these other indicators. We're pretty high right here. So look for some consolidation and some sell-off pressure. Or, we just shoot straight up and then we just keep testing new resistance levels and keep going up higher. But one thing that we could do right now is start mapping out what our price action looks like. So that's it on the 6-hour. We'll go to the 3-hour, and we're starting to curl over here on the stochastic RSI. And as you can tell, it's something that I use just to give us a general idea of where we're at in this price range. We have a certain price here. We're looking at a time frame. How do we know what the value of this is compared to previous action? So here you can see a general idea of what we got going on. On the 3-hour time frame, this price that we're at right now compared to the other averages is, yes, it was a little overbought, but as we, it was overbought in this region right here, which means it was overbought here. And as you can see, this red, we have sell pressure, sell pressure, sell pressure, and this sell pressure is pushing this down. So this indicator is showing that it's kind of like a momentum, so our momentum is for the sell pressure is going down as we increase in price. So, we're having some divergence here. I don't know exactly what we would consider this because usually you would have divergence on the regular RSI. You wouldn't really call it out in the stochastic RSI, but basically what this is showing is our price is going up and our stochastic is going down. So one thing that I would lead into thinking there is that we're consolidating here and we're having sell pressure, but the price is not actually going down too far. So this is going to bottom out and our price can stay here, which means our move to the upside would likely start testing resistance levels here. It's just something that I'm looking at and just trying to talk it through, and it seems like this would be a likely scenario, but we'll see what we got going on. Yesterday we called the move. I mean, we didn't really call it, but we measured the move to the upside, measured the move to the downside as well. And this is what we're going to do as well today, is just giving you possibilities and these levels to look at. So, one thing you want to do is start consolidating price into certain patterns here. And I think this is too small of a time frame to do it. We should have done it a little further back. Let's hop to the 9-hour. All right. So on the 9-hour chart right here, you could say we have a support range of right there. And this support range is based off of these two closed candles at 9 hours. And you could say a third one here. It's with a wick on that third one. So this would be our support level, and this right here would be our resistance, which we're currently at right now. And we're just trading within this range right now. We have had a nice move to the upside. We're above moving averages now, but we're not out of the woods yet. I mean, we're still in this pattern, and what this pattern is, it's basically a bear flag. So, the probability is we go down from here. And that's just based off of, the pattern itself. It's just technical analysis is what we're estimating here. And that's the way we map our way in and out of these trades. So that's the bear flag, likely scenario that we could hit 75,000 if we are not successful in pushing above this resistance. If we push above this pattern, then we're good. We're out of the pattern. And we could start forming a new one. We could start consolidating up here, and we form a new pattern. But until we do that, we're still in this bear flag. So we have to consider that. We are getting that red candle there. We're getting some rejection at this point at 94,600. So let's see. We're going to look at the smaller time frames. And here on the 1 hour, you can see that we've already started to consolidate and come back out of this pattern. And one thing that I'm realizing is, there is a pattern within here. Yeah, there's a pattern here that I keep seeing, but I have to map it out. Because we broke out of a pattern here. You could say it was something like this. Maybe mapping up from above. Yeah, maybe something like this. Yeah, wow. Yeah, so you could say we had something like this. We'll make it a different color. We'll make it a purple. And, let's say it was in a different flag with the purple and the light blue. Let's say we were in that kind of range right there. But yeah, we broke out. So it looks like now if we zoom in, just trying to find that top part of that pattern. Because now we can see we tried breaking up, and we're not able to sustain it, so we came back down. Tried breaking up, didn't sustain it. Same thing here, didn't sustain. And then here, above the moving averages, and we're good. Here we retested, and now consolidation and just price confirmation is confirmed. Now that is the support level, that purple line. And now we're in price discovery. And when we're in price discovery here, basically what you'd like to do is start making flags. And start making some nice flags there. So, that's this is a more nicer flag because you have those wicks in this previous range here, and these wicks kind of throw off the price action because that's just high, pressure in the market from a big move like that. So, not the best to price predict off of those moves. But one thing we could do is price predict off of these closed candles here. Closed candle back here, closed candle up here, and then that measured move is going to bring us right to our next level. and then boom, flag this out. Also, we'll use the wicks here. I usually like using the wicks because you get like a maximum and a minimum, and then this price projection would go to the candles. So you're always conservative with the actual price projection. So you're not making projections that are too high. You have projections that are pretty conservative, but that are gaining value. And then, that's what we're doing. We just keep bouncing up, and we make it a nice big move, and then we flag it out again. We're in price discovery, and right here, we don't have a lot of support and resistance levels. We can start mapping those out. We have some support over here, and here we go. Some support over here. We have some support over here. You can see how these support levels are mapping out to our price. Oh, wow. These are just not getting accurate at all. Here we go. This is what I was trying to do. Something like that. So you can see how these support levels in the local time frame, how we hit it, came back down, and tested another resistance level, broke above it, came back down. This is just showing our ranges and where we're consolidating. But I get rid of the orange so we're not too confused here. Basically, the main idea is once we break out of these ranges, breaking out of the patterns, you flag it out. You flag out the ranges. You go to small time frames. We'll go to like this 6-minute time frame here, and you can really see what the price action is doing. So we just keep flagging it out. Get the local high, get the local bottom. Now we're in that price range. We're trading within here. It's basically this level right here. So we're trading. And if we break above, boom, measured move is right at the breakout point, and boom, right at this target level, and that's where price hit, and then we consolidate back down. So this is what we have going on for Bitcoin. We're at 93,000 right now, and one thing we could look at is on the 1 hour, we're resetting here, we're consolidating. So let's get rid of these smaller bear flags, except for that one. Let's get rid of these. And what we'll do here is we'll give a estimate of where we're going to be tomorrow. So in this local range here, I'll start putting these as support lines. Here we go. Wow. And we'll start mapping this out here. So as I said before, we'll get rid of this. We'll get rid of this red one also. Actually, no, we'll keep that there. That's basically our resistance level, and then the blue is going to be our pattern that we're in currently. So we'll make a flag here. Let's make it on a smaller time frame so we have some idea of what the price action is doing here. So we're looking at local bottoms here. We could say this is our support. So here's another support level. Here's another one. And we got resistance here. All right. So we're just mapping out the small time frames. We have a pattern right here that we could say that we tried to break below, and then we're brought right back up. And then we could copy this over. Let's see. Because now we're curling down, and we have another point on the market that we could reference. So if we try to go like that, maybe something like that. So yeah, this is another flag here. And this has potential to go to the upside. So we'll do a measured move of what the price action is within this flag. And from the measured move to this, it looks like we're going to go right back up to 94,600. We're going to knock on that door again according to this price action. It's a struggle right now with the bears and the bulls. People want this price to go down. People also want to push this price up. And this is just showing what the local and, higher time frame levels are when we're looking at this price action. Right now, this is on the 6-minute time frame. So we could see a breakout to about 94,700 again before we get to 2,200 over here, UTC 2043 UTC. Yeah, this is all UTC time here. Yeah, so 2230 UTC. We could probably make a move to 94,723. And that's if we break out of this move here. If not, we have lower levels. We have 93,700, which is looking like we're going to test right now in the next couple of minutes. And if we are not successful in breaking above this pattern, we have lower levels in the 93,000s. And then we have another support level at 92,000. You could also consider this a support level as well at 92,675. So this is what we're seeing currently. I'm going to remove this just so we have an accurate look. Okay. Let's clean this up a little bit. Yeah, we could even get rid of that. Something like that. All right. Yeah, I think that works well. Yeah, very well. Yeah, so, come back down here. 6-minute RSI resets. Let me push it back up. Let's see if we can break above. Make a flag here. Push up again. And hit that target. Or we go straight up. Or we go straight down. We're just measuring moves right now. So when you see the price action act the way it does, you can see how it's flowing through the path that you've predicted. We don't know exactly what's going to happen in the market, but at least we can see what we intend to happen and what the charts are giving us, and we can start planning and making moves from there. So, we're going to leave it at that. We have some indications that we could hit back 94,700, or we can come back to 92,675. And this is on the local time frame. Just to remind you guys, we are in that bear flag. I got rid of that blue line there, but yeah, we are on a bear flag. So we are hitting resistance levels. If we don't, start. Oh wow! Now it doesn't even look good. So now I have to go back like this. Yeah, we'll get that bear flag going again. Yes. So this light blue mark that we were discussing here, I was just drawing that out. Oh, I think got rid of a support line while trying to clean things up. We're just having fun here. I'm just measuring it out. And yeah, the bearish price target that I have right now is 75,900. And the bullish one for the immediate short term is about 94,700. And my eventual one, which was with the Adam and Eve, brings us at about 104,000. So we have different price ranges in the local, the mid-range, and the higher time frames. So hopefully this helps, and yeah, appreciate you guys watching, and yeah, much love. Have a great one.